Hello everyone. So today I am making from what it looks like, my last video before the semester begins for me, and for some of you probably already begin or it's gonna begin. And I'll definitely post during the summertime. So you're not gonna hear from me for a little bit, so I just want to send you some videos to remember me by. But yeah, so the last video I made, whenever I will post it, is my solo harp concert. By the way, that is like my first time doing any type of solo concert, especially for harp. So give me some grace. Yeah, so no, those are always fun to do. My mom, she does like every month she likes to bring in new guest artists for her music school. So I was one of them, so that's what that concert was about. No, I'll talk more about it whenever I upload it, but yeah. Okay, so this video, I was talking about Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, and Hunger Games. And now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about Bonaparte, the Napoleon Bonaparte film that came out during Thanksgiving, and Past Lives. So, again, very odd pairing, but I think is actually kind of also has a lot of similarities too, because even though Napoleon Bonaparte is a historical film and Past Lives is more like a romantic drama film, I still think it's really interesting to talk about them together, because especially in the Napoleon Bonaparte film, if you guys haven't watched it, it's mostly talking about his relationship with Josephine, and it kind of shows like his life, as well, and like all the things that he did during his time as a leader. But it also kind of shows a lot of his personality and his life with Josephine, and just kind of his love for her. Like, he could never really part from her, even when they divorced. And then same with Past Lives. So I was talking about this girl who she is from she was born in Korea, Seoul, Korea, and her mom is a artist and her dad's a filmmaker, and then she became a writer. But basically, she kind of, her whole storyline is that she met this guy when she was really young in Seoul, in Korea, and they had like a little date, and then afterward they left, and like they left Korea because they just felt like they needed to immigrate in America, and she just felt like, especially at such a young age, she felt like she needed more out of life than just being in Korea, and like she just didn't feel like her life was in Korea, and so that's why she moved. But because of that, the person that she was friends with, that she had a crush on, that she dated for a little bit, he could never part that she left. He could never like move on from that part of his life, so he kept finding her, he kept searching for her, and then a couple years later he found her by Skype, and then 12 years later he found her in person. And so it's just like a very beautiful story about that. It's not really about the romance, it's about how you move on from it. And I thought that was really interesting, because a lot of romance films, like, they talk about like, oh, especially if it's a triangle, because she also got married to an American guy, which was really interesting. But yeah, also watch the films please before you watch this video, so no spoilers. But yeah, and it's so interesting, because it shows that this girl, she's like, for her, like, it just, like, even though, like, okay, sorry, let me say what I want to say. Sorry. um, I think it's really interesting because in a lot of romance films, you know, it's always, especially if it's a triangle, they always choose the first guy, and it's just like so dramatic, and it's so just like crazy and intense, and like kind of reality TV show a little bit. But this film, yeah, there was definitely tension, but all parties had a very like mature aspect to it, which I found was really honorable. Like, to be honest, this woman really knows how to pick men because both guys, um, just first of all, both are incredibly amazing men. Both, you know, are intelligent, are, you know, want to, want the best for her, wants, care for her, listen to her, respect her, and, same for them. And, wants the best for her. And I think that's like so honorable personally, because like in one of the scenes, so whenever the Korean guy did come to America, he let her know, of course, and they talked. And then she's like, I want you to meet my husband. And he's like, okay. Because of course, why? It's a little bit awkward. But yeah, and basically, the American guy, he like started talking in Korean. Because he was actually, in the film, he was telling her like the reason why he was learning Korean was because she dreams in Korean, and he feels like there's some part of her that he doesn't understand and that he wants to know more about. I'm like, oh my god. Oh, we like you. You're too cute, my guy. So like, great men, basically. And like, I can understand why it was hard for her to choose, personally. Um, yeah, and like, he was talking to him in Korean, and then the Korean guy was talking to the husband in English. So like, it just kind of showed like how, like, even though they love this one woman, they still can put their differences aside and still have a good conversation, a respectable conversation. And that's what I really liked about this film, was that, because like at first I thought like, oh, this is gonna be like some like just triangle, but no, this film was more talking about how this woman, she just, she knows what she wants, she knows what she needs, and she knows that her life is not going to be in Korea, it's going to be in New York City, in America. And even though she loved this man, she feels like they would not have, like, it's very, very realistic. That's what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of romantic films, a lot of it's not very realistic, or at least the way they think of romance is not very realistic. So it was really nice to like watch like a more mature, but still like a very graceful film, So yeah, it's such a good film. It's such a good film. And so now you're asking like, so, and please guys watch both of these films because they're both incredible in their own way. Now you're asking me like, okay, so why are you pairing these two films together? Like, clearly they're opposites, and they are, but but they're also very similar, because in Napoleon film, like, he also like like I think what both of these films, even though Napoleon Bonaparte is a historical film, it really was more talking about his life with Jacques. It was really talking about that that everything that he did, everything that he accomplished was for his family and was for Jacqueline. Like, his mindset was only on her. Like, even when they divorced, he could never part from her. Like, in one of the scenes, he even like cried that she died and that no one told him. Like, So, yes, of course, it's different because of the different genres and of the different storylines, but it's similar in the fact that you find your soulmate, or you find the person that you think is your soulmate, and then when they don't want to be with you, when they don't want to, you know, when they don't want to, like, or if they feel like it's not the time, or if they feel like you're not their person, or, whatever happens for you guys not to be together, how do you get away from that without feeling like you're lost? You know? Like, and I think for a lot of people, that's really relatable because it's like, there's someone that you loved so dearly that didn't like you back, and do you go the yandere route where you want to go murder and massacre people? Or do you go to the route where you're healing, but you still feel like a part of you is broken? And like, whenever you love someone, especially if it's your first love, like, you'll never truly get over it, like, me especially. But it's just about, like, how to do it in a healthy way, how to do it with grace and with respect. Because even though we want that person to be with us, we still want the best. And if it means not to be with us, then that's what that means, And so I really liked, especially with the past lives and with Napoleon Bonaparte, how they were kind of exploring that, like, how you can grace that person in your life, but still make them feel like they're heard and respected, And obviously don't go the yandere route. But you know what I mean? Like, how do you have a mature relationship with yourself so then you can have a mature relationship with that other person if they want that or not, And I think that's such an important thing to think about and such an important lesson to think about, because it's like, we all have that person that we want to be with, that we feel like is our person, that we need, that said no. Or that feels like they need more, or they feel like it does not work with them, And especially in the past lives, and I mean, Bonaparte too, like, both films had really great, like, camera work, but especially in past lives, like, they were showing, okay, so, for example, the Korean guy, he's an engineer, and she's a writer, and so she wants more, and, he wants to still live in Korea. So there was one scene when they were kids where he was walking on, like, this plain field, and on another one where the girl is going upstairs. And so that's essentially saying, like, artistically, it's essentially saying that the girl is trying to move up in life while the guy is trying to stay in the same place. Like, oh! Like, that is so good storytelling. That really is such a good storytelling. And then, like, in the last part of the scene, too, like, so, and obviously she also marries this husband of hers, and still is, and so she kind of, the point of the film, she does not go with the guy. She actually still keeps being married to the American guy, and basically what she was kind of telling him in summary is that, like, I love you, like, I respect you, but we are truly different people, and I need more in life, and you're not the one for me. That's essentially what she was telling him, and that to see you in the next chapter of their life. So that's kind of how they finished their conversation. And so then he left to the taxi, and then this whole scene where she was going from him to her husband, and how she started crying because in the beginning of the film she always cried, and whenever she cried, the Korean guy always was there for her. But now it's the American guy, so it's almost like a full circle. Like, it was kind of showing like how, like, she was in the first part of her life, past life, and how she was in her current life. And it was just showing like this full circle where she was crying, but she was crying essentially being vulnerable, but being vulnerable with another person, with her person, you know? And then they went upstairs. And that's kind of how the film ended. And I thought that was such a... I actually cried afterward too. But that's such a great... In my opinion, that was such a cool way that they did it, because it showed how even though there was hurt, even though there was tears, you know, there was some dramatics, she still did what she wanted to do. She still did what she promised, and she kept going. And I think what we all can learn from both of these characters, but also from but especially from her, and especially from Napoleon Bonaparte, is that, you know, even though we have people that we loved and that we cherished and that was our first love, or that our soulmate, or we thought it was our soulmate, we're still allowed to see who we are, to learn about ourselves, and to keep going, and to be better than we were before. Because they're just people. You know, they're just human beings. They have their own feelings and rights as well. And for us, it's not about pleasing the other person, even though we feel like we want to, and even though we feel like we needed to have that person in our lives. It's about what we need. And if that person doesn't fit in our life, then they are not our person. So, anyway, that was a whole tangent. But I love both of these films. I think both of... Even though, like, the only con I would say for Napoleon Bonaparte, it wasn't, like, completely... Like, some of the timelines jumped a lot. So it was hard to, like, follow along exactly everything. But I think as a story and the meaning of the story, I think that's what we can truly learn from both of these films, especially from Past Lives and especially from Napoleon Bonaparte, that, you know, as people, we need to respect ourselves to get the person that we truly need. So, yeah, I hope you like it. Sorry that was too psychological. But I thought that was amazing, and I feel like we all, even me, need that. And for the New Year's, and for this new year, I hope, and me especially, I hope whatever you have in your, you know, New Year's resolution, that you can strive to that you can improve on that, and that we all can respect each other, respect ourselves, and that we can truly be the people that we want to be. Okay. This year has already started so interesting. But I love it because it shows that, you know, sometimes we need a rude awakening to make us change. So yeah, I hope you like it. Okay.